G'day everyone, welcome to Roo Hammer, Season 3, Episode 28. And geez, we've got plenty to get through tonight. We're going to go back to a round 15 loss to the Panthers. We'll be talking about that game at Moreton Daily Stadium, the last Warriors home game in Australia. We're going to be previewing the massive homecoming game this weekend and the first leg of the Mike Doreen Cup. The most important thing, should we say? Yeah. Sorry, it's the second leg. Of course it is. I tried to erase that first game from my memory, even though it was a win. And yes, and of course, we're going to be going over all things rep round. What a fantastic weekend we had there across all the internationals and the state of origin games. Before we do get into it, though, as always, extra special shout out to our wonderful supporters on Patreon. It's your generous support that allows us to upgrade our visual presentation and to bring you everything through Restream and all the content and guests that you enjoy so much, and also to you wonderful people that have bought some merchandise for us. Thank you so much. And Hammer, how's it going, mate? How's things down there?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. Cold Sydney winter we're having at the moment.
Even Brisbane's a bit cold. I got the beanie.
I'm doing pretty good, mate. The 3:30 wake up, 4 o'clock to work type thing situations, not pleasant. But yeah, mate, I just want to echo your thoughts too on our wonderful supporters who support allows us to do what we do here every week, which is bring you the best live Warriors content on all social media platforms. And just a reminder to everyone that's watching and tuned in tonight, the reason we do the show live is to get the involvement of you guys watching us or joining us. So please, as we move through the various discussion points we're going to chat about tonight, join the conversation, leave your comments, and we'll bring you into the conversation where applicable. Just make sure that you are well aware that we do have current and ex-players and their families and Warrior staff that do watch our webcast. So, you know, whilst you can be honest with your comments, just keep them respectful and refrain from making them personal and derogatory. Yeah, mate. Massive round of footy last week, rep round. How awesome was it to see International Rugby League back on the Rugby League calendar, and more importantly, to see Mount Smart Stadium with a crowd of 20,000 people watching both the Tonga versus Kiwi Test matches in the men's and the women's.
Yeah, mate, fantastic. A sea of red, as we knew it was going to be.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah. So it was great to see the women's game first, and the Kiwi Ferns taking on the Mate women's team. And the game was played in great spirit. Both games were played in great spirit. It was awesome display. Like the Tongan fans were out in voice, particularly in the second game. That was fantastic. Despite the scoreline. They have the best supporters in the world, you'd have to say, and they're such good spirits. Fantastic to see international footy again. It's been a while, obviously, because of COVID. They were all great games. I particularly enjoyed the Pacific Tests at Campbelltown.
Yes,
great to see those. The highlight for me was probably the PNG versus Fiji game. I really enjoyed watching that one. It was a closely fought contest, and it's just great to see the development in some of these nations, particularly PNG. I think that they, as I said last week, I think they've really benefited from having the Hunters in the Queensland Cup competition, and they've developed some great players and got some NRL level players like Justin Olam there as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the state of origin games were fantastic. The women's, the under 19s, and then the women's game was, how good was that on Friday night? Awesome crowd out there to support the girls. Great quality game of footy. Closely fought contest, as all origin matches should. I'll brush over the match on Sunday night because I'm not too keen to relive that one. But obviously, news to the Blues, way too good for my Maroons on Sunday night. But all in all, what a great weekend of footy.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame though that the NRL has come out and said that there won't be we won't be having the rep round mid-season for the next 5 years. So that's a little bit disappointing. And then you've got to ask yourself where it does fit in the calendar, the rugby league calendar.
Yeah.
And if they shift it to the end of the season, then you kind of run the risk of having a lot of players pulling out because maybe their clubs don't want them to play, they have to recover from injuries, and then you've got that player load management that we heard about a few years ago, where they're saying, oh, it's too much. It's 25 rounds of footy, and then finals, and then you add on international games as well. So interesting to see what they do kind of replace it with. But I'm sure we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, for me, I just found it a bit narrow-minded from the NRL, and to announce it the weekend, like directly straight after the success of the rep rounds and those international games. And you know, I know this year is a World Cup year, so you know we're all got that feel good about the international game, about the international game going ahead. But look, for me, that the problem is by taking away the rep round, like you're not going to get these guys committing to Samoa, or I mean, Tonga have done very well to get their guys to commit, but even those guys like Tupu and Stags are still involved in that Origin arena, and then going to play for Tonga at the end of the year. But Samoa, who are trying to build. Cook Islands, Fiji, PNG, as you said, for these countries not to now play international footy, like there's no platform for them mid-season. Maybe they're going to have to look at end of year tests, but as you said, that's the time period where a lot of NRL clubs are putting their players into end of season operations and stuff like that. It's Mate, I just find it very narrow-minded. I don't agree with Wayne Bennett very often, but I agree with Wayne Bennett on this one. So a lot of comments coming through on the live chat there, mate.
Some controversial comments from a former housemate of yours. he reckons the Tigers are gonna. Well, he's predicted the Tigers to win by 13-12, but I'm sorry, mate, that doesn't win you the Mike Doreen Cup this year because it goes on aggregates.
That's right.
So you're gonna have to win by 5 to wrestle the Mike Doreen Cup away from us. That's what we said. That's always been the rules. And mate, you were part of the committee that set up the Mike Doreen Cup.
He was
Mr. One. So. Yeah, he didn't think this one through, did he?
No.
But we're gonna get into that a little bit later. Do a massive preview of the homecoming, and good to have Warrior Nation, Richie watching as well. And what a week it's already been.
Our mate Jay Harris has joined us. Ciala's in there. Kevin Campion's on with us. So hey, Campo, how are you, brother? Johnny's on.
Great to have you.
My mum, Andrew Smith. Adrian, my mate from work. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in. There's a couple of comments coming through. I must have missed a chat with someone saying, "Did you watch Josh and Cam's chat? Thoughts about the coach discussion?"
Oh, I missed that as well. Where was that? We might have to go back and have a look at that.
Yeah, because they're talking about possibly the Walker brothers. There's a couple of comments coming through about the Walker brothers. So we do know that that Robbo went overseas. It was in England, and he missed out on Christian Wolf. And with this coaching shuffle that's going on at the moment, the Tigers missed out on Serraldo. They've now come out and said that Brett Camorley is probably going to be retained as head coach. Blasted that decision on NRL 360 last night. There was a rumor or comment in a report in an article somewhere saying that Shane Flanagan had knocked us back as well. Christian Wolf has knocked us back. We know of. Mate, this is a discussion that we have quite a bit at the moment about the coaching. And the hardest thing for us is going to be the location. Is trying to get a coach that wants to go to our club. Let's face it, it's a club that has played one semi-final game in 11 years. Which was in 2018. So we've got no on-field success. So there's no on-field success that's going to lure someone there. And then they've got to move to New Zealand as well. So we're behind the 8 ball in trying to get a decent coach. Okay, Josh was pushing the Walker brothers, but Cam didn't rule out a rookie coach. Could be an approach that they look at and could be exciting along those lines. Now, well, here's the interesting thing. I've just re-enrolled to redo my coaching certificate. So yeah, I'm gonna
Interesting development.
Yeah, I'm gonna Cam and throw my hat in the ring.
Cam, if you're watching, is your man. Warriors DNA through and through. He ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's going to be an ongoing saga that we have to put up with week in, week out. I hope we do the right thing and don't put everything in the media every week. So there's some sort of media debate about what the Warriors are going, and they just go about their business and let Stacey, work with the team this year, and the boys focus on what's going on the field this year, and the powers that be can act in the background and get their PJ Marsh is watching. PJ Marsh, are you putting your hand up as Warriors' new coach, mate, or are you endorsing Hammer as the Warriors' new coach?
Either, mate. What about a Marsh Hammer combination?
What about Marsh, Hammer, and Campo? I still reckon Campo's got to be there. He's the hard man.
Has to be. Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The hard taskmaster, but that's what we need.
Yeah.
PJ, Marsh, Hammer, and Campo. That's got a ring to it. First. PJ, all you cuz.
Thanks, PJ. Appreciate it, mate. I'll take the endorsement from Warrior 96. I'll say, yeah, Warrior 96 has given me his endorsement.
Love you, legend. Thanks for that. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, brother. Mate, can I just get something off my chest as well?
Absolutely.
I'm a little bit annoyed this week. So the NRL came out last week and they said that in regards to Matt Lodge, and they said that Matt Lodge can't go to an NRL club. He's got to be paid he's worth like 20 grand a game. So he's got to be paid 20 grand a game because originally Parramatta were looking at him and they were going to offer him a low ball contract for the remainder of this year. And the NRL said no. And then there was two other clubs which they didn't name. And then lo and behold, the Roosters have come out and signed him for $100,000. Now, I'm not the best mathematician, but there's 9 games left in the season. And when I went to school, 20,000 times 9 didn't equal 100,000. I think it was more like 180. So once again, the Roosters have been afforded, some liberties with the NRL. But yeah, it really pissed me off when I read that.
They're sponsored by the New Era sombrero.
Oh, mate. What are your thoughts on Lodge going to the Roosters?
Oh no, probably all makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If he's going to end up at any club, it was probably going to be the Roosters. They always seem to find a way to get big name players into their club and fit them under the sombrero. Like Sonny Bill was available, so they released the reserve grader and somehow slipped him under the cap. So yeah, look.
That reserve grader is playing first grade at the Tigers now.
He is too. Yeah. Sorry, with all due respect to him, he's playing.
And he would never have been a first grade footballer at the Roosters. Find too many guys, but and those that know me know that I do know the Lodge family personally.
We got nothing against Matt at all.
I played footy with Matty's dad, and I've got nothing against Lodge going there. This rant is purely about the Roosters being able to pick up a guy for like pretty effectively $10,000 a game when last week the NRL came out and said he's got to be paid $20,000 a game. So
This is what can you do? As the great one said, it's probably more of a gazebo now than a sombrero. Hey, mate, just as a Kiwi, what were your thoughts on the test matches over at Mount Smart there?
Oh, mate. Not to rub it in, but great results all round. New South Wales won 4 Origins. They won both the under-19s. They won the women's on Friday and the men's on Sunday. The only game I tipped wrong, I actually tipped Fiji to beat Papua New Guinea. And just going by the big names that Fiji had, but full credit to Papua New Guinea, they were outstanding. The Samoa Cook Island test was an enjoyable one to watch, and it was good to see Cook Island get some much needed, representative footy. But mate, just seeing the sea of red at Mount Smart Stadium was just a sight to behold, and just seeing a crowd back at Mount Smart watching live rugby league once again
warms the heart.
It does. It was probably a really bittersweet moment too, because there was not one Warrior involved in that that Kiwis test team that played the 17 or the 18 that were named on to play on Saturday. I think it's the first time since '95 that no Warrior has been.
Yeah, I was saying to you during the week, it has to be the first time since 1995 that there's been no Warriors players at all in the Kiwis team. Has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we knew that Dallin wasn't going to play because after the Panthers game, when we were in the sheds chatting to Dow, when he was trying to sell us watches, and I said to him, "Well, congratulations on your Kiwi selection." He goes, "No, I won't play." He said, "I know I'm not playing. I'm just in the squad." And I thought, he goes, "I'll only play if someone gets injured." So it was quite interesting that they knew that far in advance, pretty much who was going to be playing. Probably good news for the Warriors seeing Murata Niokore playing in the centres and making a good fit to that position in a test match. Perhaps.
Mark Roberts is just saying, Niokore was involved, so there you go. That's our.
No, he doesn't count. He hasn't got a Warriors number yet, mate. So
Tanya was lucky enough. Lucky Duck was at the game. Said
nice.
The atmosphere was unreal. So awesome, Tanya. Yeah, that looked fantastic. And
it did, didn't it?
The chorus, the hymns, and the Tongan hymns, and the singing. I love it. It's
mate. We said we spoke about it on the weekend, didn't we? Because the women's game was a comprehensive win by the Kiwis, and then obviously the men's game was also a pretty solid win. Tonga only got that one try, but the Tongan crowd were just so into it and cheering and always. And you even said, we can learn a lot from the Tongan crowd because even when things go bad, they're still supporting and they're still cheering. And I agreed with you at the time, but I've had to think about it, and I thought, no, they got no idea because that's just one game, and we have to put up 25 games.
Yeah, try doing that 25 times a year and then see how jovial you still are at round 25.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mate, should we get into the rep round and just have a quick look at how these games went?
Yeah, for sure, mate. Yeah, do you want to start us off with Friday night?
Yeah, we had the Women's State of Origin. New South Wales 20 over Queensland 14. For New South Wales, tries to Emma Tonegado, our good friend Kira Dibb, Isabel Kelly as well, Rachel Pearson 4 from 5 goals. And for Queensland, Destiny Brill, Taryn Aitken and Ivania Polite all got tries. Brigginshaw, Paul Knight with a boot, getting 1 from 3. Mate, in a real boost in the arm for women's rugby league here in Australia and the upcoming NRL season. Played in front of a record crowd of 11,321 people in a cold Canberra.
Of course.
Mate, Queensland led early in that game. The Blues hit back with 2 tries in 2 minutes. As I said, try scored by our good friend Kira Dibb, a great
what a try, individual try. Brilliant, isn't it? Yeah. Footwork.
And then the Blues kind of took advantage of poor discipline from the Maroons and with a goal kicker like Rachel Pearson, they opted to take the penalty shots on offer, sliding 2 penalty goals to keep that scoreboard ticking over. The Maroons nearly snatched victory at the end with a try to Shanae Sasolka from a kick that was taken by Julia Robinson and initially awarded, but then when they went back and had a look at it, they saw that Robinson was probably only about 2 metres offside, and she came through and caught that ball. So that was disallowed. And then Isabel Kelly fittingly scored the match winner for New South Wales. And mate, she ended up getting the Nelly Doherty medal for player of the match. She finished the game with 190 run meters, 78 post contact, a massive 13 tackle breaks, a line break, 3 offloads, 16 tackles and a try in a wonderful performance. I thought Emma Tonagato at the back was magnificent at fullback. She ran for 163 metres. Clydesdale and Surgis. Clydesdale, who played back row for the Roosters in this year or the last NRLW season, switched back out to her wing position. And they got through a mountain of work. They both ran for over 125 metres. And for the Maroons, I thought Chelsea Lenarduzzi was a real handful for the Blues in the middle of the park. They struggled to get her on the ground. She got a lot of good quick play of the ball. And I thought Tamika Upton and Ivania Polite playing in her first Origin match, she looked dangerous. Touch of the ball as well. What did you think of that game, mate?
Yeah, great game. It was a classic Origin match, closely fought contest. Queenslanders almost did what Queensland does best and pull it out of the fire, but it wasn't to be. Blues very strong. Heavy representation from the Roosters premiership winning side in there as well. Varney Polite's superstar. Like, she looks dangerous, as you said. Every time she touches the ball, she's
both
awesome.
those
Tonagato,
57 girls.
Yep.
Yeah, they just bring a level of professionalism. And Tonagato was just everywhere. She reminded me of
great interview as well. Great.
Yeah, it was an awesome interview. Yeah. They shouldn't stick microphones in players' faces when they're walking off the field.
But it was a fantastic, just a fantastic game of footy. Thoroughly enjoyable, even if the Blues did get up in this game.
Yeah,
great product. Saturday afternoon, the Kiwi Ferns and the Mate Ma'a Tonga women's team had the honour of playing the first game back at Mount Smart Stadium for this year.
Yep.
As we said, it was a big win to the Kiwi Ferns. Our good mate Maddie Bartlett with a double, Vaha Kolo with a double, McGregor, both McGregors getting tries, Turner, Murdoch Masilla, Wirakohu, Jones and Maynard tries. Jones, 3 from 11, so not the greatest day off the boot for her. But
no.
Plenty of tries scored. The Tongan women, it was great to see them get a couple of tries, and didn't they enjoy it? And rightly so. Polata and Hefo tries, and Hefo 2 from 2. And it was played in front of a record crowd of 18,312. I think, Jacko, you said that earlier in the chat as well. Kiwi Ferns, they were always in control and were never really troubled. And it was the first time that the McGregor sisters, they'd represented NZ together, so a huge moment for their family.
Yep.
Laishan Jones, the Kiwi number 6, the niece of Stacey Jones. So that's a nice touch there, continuing the Jones legacy there. Our good buddy Georgia Hale, she was named player of the match with a massive 194 metres, 64 post-contact metres, and 28 tackles at 100% efficiency. But again, game played in great spirits, and it was fantastic to watch that and see footy back on Mount Smart Stadium for the first time in a long time. So
it was. The Kiwi Ferns, I think, of their 17 players, I think maybe 14 or 15 of them have had NRLW experience. There was, I think for Tonga, there was only 3 girls who played NRLW. So the level of experience was heavily in the Kiwi Ferns' favour. And I mean, if Laisha Jones had a better day with a kicking boot, that score could have been, nearly close to 66 or 70 with the amount of missed goals there. So I thought, a good warm up for the Kiwi Ferns heading up into this year's World Cup. Picked a really strong squad, and as you said, a couple of good friends of ours playing in that game. Maddie Bartlett, Georgia Hale, who has been a massive supporter of our show, and Roxy Murdoch, Benny Murdoch Masilla's wife. Quite interesting to see him. He was part of the Tongan coaching staff. Yeah. And there was a couple of pictures of them after the game, her in a Kiwi stuff and him wearing Tongan stuff. So, it's got a nice little couple of good photos of them two together after the game. But, mate, it was a great game. And following that game, we had the the men's, the Kiwis versus Matimar Tonga, which the Kiwis won 26-6. Hughes, Rapana, your mate, Pre-Jack Mulatala.
I picked it on Sam's show last week. I told you he was going to get a meat pie. Yep.
Yeah. And Isaiah Papali'i tries. Rapana, 5 from 5 goals. And for it was the lone try to Sione Katoa and Katoni Staggs got the 1 from 1 goal. And this was played in front of 20,766 people. Jesse Bromwich leading the Kiwis and played his 30th test match for the Kiwis. So many great performances for the Kiwis out there, but, mate, Joey Manu put on an absolute masterclass.
Huge.
It's now, they're now saying that he ran for 404 metres. He had 112 post contact. He had 7 tackle breaks, a line break assist, 2 offloads. Kind of makes you wonder how, like at the Roosters, he plays just on that one edge in the centres, and it looks like it's just wasted talent. And, you know, it's kind of, I was questioning, thinking to myself, why does this guy not play fullback? And then, you know, Tedesco played on Sunday night, and you think that's why. But Joey Manu, put him in the spine, put him in the middle of the park, give him some, you know, free rein, and he'd be so dangerous. And you could see why, you know, every club was chasing him hard, talking about him being $1 million player. Jordan Rapana, I thought he played quite well for the Kiwis too. He ran for 204 metres in a good performance. And in fact, all the back 5 of the Kiwis ran for over 100 metres. Fisher Harris and Joe Tarpany, they were our forwards. They both ran for 163 metres. Fisher Harris got nearly all of those in one run where he ran off. Joey Manu put him through a hole, and he ran. It reminded me of Steve Price in Origin when he got so close to scoring.
Just kept tripping over. Yeah, he tripped over his own fen, basically.
But that was a great run to watch. And I just thought Tonga struggled to get any real momentum going. Their line speed was very passive. They tended to shift sideways more than move up, show any real line speed, and it just allowed the Kiwis to make really big meters every set that they had. And a lot of in attack, a lot of they lacked a little bit of creativity, and that's because Katoni Staggs isn't a half, and Talatai Amon is only a young half. He's still learning his trade, and they're just inexperienced in the halves, and it was always going to be their downfall in this game as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, I think if Tonga can unearth a couple of really good halves, genuine halves, and they're really going to be a force to reckon with because, mate, they've got the forward pack to do the business. Obviously, that's their strength. You look at the guys, Taumalolo, AFB, Taukiaho, and the likes, and they've got some good outside backs as well, as long as all their players stick with Tonga.
Yeah. Tanya Keynes just said, love Joe Tarpany. Hasn't he got the highest run stats in the comp by a forward, or is it offloads? No, it is. He's got the most run meters by forward this season.
Career best form this year. Yeah.
He was so hard to get down. Every time they went to him, it was taking 3 and 4 guys into a tackle, and they still struggled to put him on his back. And of course, you know, that as we know, you know, if you don't put the forwards on the back, they just get that quick play of the ball, and it allows, you know, guys like Jerome Hughes to play off the back of that, which they did.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a really good game. You know, just a great test match. Closely fought contest. Tonga didn't let it get out of hand. They stayed in the contest, and the Kiwis were really good. And I think their halves, like Jerome Hughes, had an awesome game, and their team that you guys have put together over there, it'll be really interesting to see the Kiwis come up against the Kangaroos now, because I think it'll be a really, really close match. Some of the guys here in the chats have been saying this could be the Kiwis team to really rival the Kangaroos.
Yeah.
Remember back in 2015, I think the Kiwis had built a really strong team that even beat the Kangaroos in one of the Anzac Day tests and the Four Nations the year before as well. They felt like the Kiwis were building to something, and then it kind of fell away for a little bit. But I think they're back, and like all the players that they picked are all informed players at club level.
Yeah,
and that's, you know, probably, I'm not trying to be funny or anything, it's probably why a lot of the Warriors guys didn't quite make the side.
I could probably see maybe Tohu would probably be the only guy that will probably come into that squad after this season.
Possibly Jazz would come into the reckoning somewhere as like a
can
utility.
he? Like now that he's played for Samoa, can he still?
Okay. So perhaps he can't play for. I don't know if he can play for the Kiwis in the World Cup this year. Because I think they've got to sort of pick and stick in a World Cup year. Yeah,
I actually thought that he was hard done by not getting selected in this squad for the Kiwis. I thought he's done enough. I know the Warriors haven't been winning, but I thought Jazz has been one of our better players. Mark Roberts is saying they're missing a couple of players. Hopewadi, Lola here, don't really rate him. Fuss, Hurrell, BMM.
Ada Hingano, he's played quite a few games in the halves, and I think in that 2017 World Cup when they did so well, like they just played that, like Hingano and Lola here, they played off the back of that awesome go forward that they had, and then as someone mentioned, they had Fusatua in there who had a massive World Cup meter reader as well.
Interesting comment from our good mate Kenny. He says his lack of ball control in the second half wasn't good enough to beat the Aussies, and now that he says that at that opening 20, like that first 20 minutes of the second half, there was a lot of drop ball by both sides because there was a little bit of rain that happened in New Zealand.
Yeah, there was. It came down a bit, yeah.
Bearing in mind, they're going to England at the end of the year in November to play a World Cup, which is in the English winter. They're going to get that kind of weather over there. So, that's one.
Cold November rain, eh?
Yes. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was great spectacle. And as we said, like just so awesome to see rugby league back at Mount Smart Stadium. It's been a while, and even better to replicate that result next Sunday. But we'll get to that.
Yes.
Moving on to the Pacific Tests. So these were played at Campbelltown Stadium, and Saturday night the first test was Samoa taking on the Cook Islands, and it was a pretty big win for Samoa, 42. Norfoluma, how good did he go? 4 tries. Taylor May continuing his hot club form with a double. Isaac Tago and Polo tries. And the MILF kicking 5 from 8. And the Cook Islands, they gave a good account of themselves. Moale and Masters tries and Masters 2 from 2. And there was a crowd of 10,515 there at Campbelltown Stadium. It was a mismatch, though, with the Cook Islands, just 3 players with NRL experience this season. And then you look at the Samoan lineup, and Staines, Tago, and Nofaluma, and like all the Penrith guys in there, and it was a strong side, and so Staines, Tago, and Nofaluma, they all ran for over 200 meters in a dominant display. And speaking of the man himself, Jazz Tavanga, with a game high 35 tackles, to see him doing what we know he does every week in, week out. Another guy that we've had the pleasure of getting to know in the Redcliffe phase of the Warriors' history has been Pride Pedersen Rabati. Again, gave a really good account of himself. He played the full 80 minutes. He ran for 134 metres, 28 tackles. And most importantly, it's been really good to see him get that game time.
Yeah,
on a bigger stage and show everyone what he can do, because we've been kind of crying out for him to get some game time. He's excelling at Queensland Cup level, but just not quite being able to break into that Warriors run on side or the game day 17, I should say.
Yeah.
So
it was good to see him get some game time, and he proud moment for him. He actually captained the Cook Islands team.
Yeah.
And you'll have to think that they'll come in with a couple more players towards the end of the year. There's a few Cookies boys that guys like Chance Nickel-Kluckster will come into the reckoning for Cook Islands, and even a guy like Valentine Holmes, who, if he doesn't get picked for Australia, he can switch back to Cook Islands. So a couple of boys from the Kiwis as well can switch to Cook Islands. So there's a few guys they'll be strengthened a little bit more come World Cup time. Tanya just asked what position he plays. He plays edge back row or front row. Pride is and he's a great player. He really gave a good account of himself. And as you said, Jazz was outstanding for Samoa. The 4 Warriors boys there. Ronnie Volkman didn't get to play, but we also had Bunty and Chanel, Shell House Feeder, playing in that game. Yeah, and then following that, we had the PNG versus Fiji to finish off the Saturday night. PNG 24, Lachlan Lamb, Yay, Mead tries, Labour 4 from 4 goals, and Fiji 14. Taruva 2 tries, Kevin Nakwama a try, Masima 1 from 3 goals. Interesting that Davey Mead came out and announced that he was going to play his final test for the Kummels in this game and not go to the World Cup at the end of the year. And he finished in great style, getting a try for himself. He's been a great servant of Papua New Guinea Rugby League. The Kummels team, they had 7 of the team that actually beat England back in 2019 playing in this game, which obviously shows the depth that they've got in their squad. The young Panther, Sunia Taruva, he was outstanding at fullback.
How good did he go? Yeah, exactly.
Called in at the last minute. He was outstanding. I think he ran for 252 metres in that game, which is great. Your first taste of top class footy. PNG's back 5 though; they all ran for over 150 metres. I really thought guys like Lower and Mike Acevo would really come into their own in this, but the Hunters, they've got I think they had the Kummels. I think they had 6 or 7 of the PNG Hunters playing in this side, and it just shows how that playing in that Q Cup has really strengthened their depth in their squad.
Yeah, a bit of continuity there. I'm really enjoying the rise of PNG. So we know that they're a rugby league mad nation. I've never met anyone from PNG that doesn't love footy.
Always good to see a white Kummel out there too, wasn't it? I think it was Kyle Labutt this time in the 6.
Yeah. Usually it's Luke Page, isn't it, running it from the back fence?
Yeah.
Because look, I know quite a lot of people that have worked and done stints in PNG, working in the mines up there. So I've actually known quite a few people that lived there for a long period of time, and they all had wonderful things to say about it. People have bloodlines that tie back to PNG, parents and grandparents that have been born or grew up there. So it's great to see people from all different walks of life representing the Kummels. Like Labour, he hasn't really had a go at NRL level, but he was very good for them. I think he plays up in the Cutters?
Yeah, he plays Q Cup for the Cutters, yep.
Q Cup, so yeah, very good game. It's just really, really enjoyable because I looked at it. I looked at the 2 squads, and like you said, you sort of looked at the NRL experience in Fiji's lineup. You got Ravalawa, you got Sivo, you got Semi Velame, and they had a really good backline. And Wonga Blake, exactly. And no one knew how good that Taruva was going to go.
No.
He had a fantastic game. But I think, again, like we were saying about Tonga, is just they struggle a little bit in the halves. And you've got Kevin Nagama playing as number 6. And also, same with the Cook Islands. Like you've got Isan Masters playing in 6 as well.
Yeah.
These guys are normally like centres or wingers. They both gave a good account of themselves. But again, Fiji is another nation that has kind of struggled in the halves department as well. They've got who's the young fellow from the Bulldogs that sometimes plays for them?
Is it Beyond Diodo?
No, it's not him.
I know who you're talking. Brandon
Wakeham. Yeah, Wakeham. Yeah, he used to. I think he might be injured at the moment. Struggle a little bit in the halves as like a few of these nations tend to as well. But they, as we said before, like talking about Labour and Lamb had really good, strong games for PNG.
What do you think of Tane Milne playing in the forwards?
I actually don't mind it. I think he's suited to it. He's got that style of blockbusting game. He's always been a running player. And to me, I always kind of thought it's funny that the Rabbitohs still play him out the wing because he's a big body. He's a big man. He can put on a hit. Had that great one game for us back in 2019.
He did.
Unfortunately, it was just the one game for us because he played really well in that game, put on a few big hits. I think he did really well. It could be look at a few of these other outside backs that have made the move into the pack. You could do a Ruben Wiki.
He won't be as good as Ruben, mate. He won't be as good as Ruben. Don't you dare put Ruben Wiki and Tane Milne in the
Sorry, I said he said a similar kind of move. Sorry, I'm not quite putting him up there with the Carver King, so don't worry.
No. Good. And the last game on Sunday night, mate.
Oh, mate, you want me to go through this one? Okay, fine. Sunday night, yes, we had State of Origin Game 2 over there in Perth. And, absolute thumping to the Blues, 44-12. The Blues, 44 points. Cleary, untouchable with a double. To'o Burton, what a great game he had. Great Origin debut. Tupou, Luai, and Lord Farquhar, Angus Crichton, getting a contentious try at the end there.
Yeah.
Cleary, 8 from 8. Night out for him. Queensland's 12 points. Came from Kaufusi and Munster. The tries, Holmes, 2 from 2. 59,358 at Optus Stadium in Perth. And unfortunately, whereas the game is played in Melbourne, Queensland tends to get most of the support for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
You know, about the New South Wales Victoria rivalry, but it seemed the Blues had the majority of the support over there in Perth. It was actually a really close contest, and the turning point was the Kaufusi sin bin right on half time. And that seemed to switch the whole momentum of the game. And the Blues just starved Queensland of any good possession inside New South Wales half. And New South Wales 60% possession and 88% completion rate. And then 10 more sets than Queensland and ran for 800 more metres than Queensland. And the Maroons had 56 missed tackles. So that kind of tells you the story in that second half where the Blues just ran away with the game. And Queensland having to play about 8 minutes off that start of that second half with a man down just proved a little bit too much. And I think crucially, To'o getting that try right on half time. They only needed like one tackle to exploit the extra man advantage. Tedesco, as you mentioned before, massive game, 259 metres and 10 tackle breaks. To'o, 261 metres and Tupou, 200 metres. In comparison, so Ponga, 123. Cobbo had a night to forget, 64 metres. But he's only young. He'll be back. And Murray Taulagi had a very mixed game. Did some good things, but, struggled. Yeah, especially under that Matt Burton torpedo bomb. Who's going to catch that?
That's sublime. He kicked it higher than the stadium.
It's ridiculous, hey?
Yeah.
Imagine trying to camp under that with all those big blokes running at you. Anyway, Taulagi, he made 108 metres on debut. So where does that leave the series now, do you think? Obviously, Queensland had a gritty win game 1, and then the Blues just came and dominated game 2. So it's kind of shaping up a bit like the last couple of years. I think like we've had like a Maroons win, close win in the first game. The Blues come out and make a statement the second game. Where does that leave us now?
I think it showed, like, everyone was full of praise of Billy Slater after game 1, and what a coach. And anyone that follows rugby league knows that these guys that are coaching Origin, they're not coaching. They're basically just managing players squad, and they're not coaching these guys. It's the best of the best. I think what we discovered with Billy on the weekend was he seemed to swallow the Nathan Brown pill because his bench rotation was just absolutely ridiculous. I think there was at one point there where the Maroons were just defending their line set after set after set, and he had a fresh Josh Papali'i and Tino sitting on the bench, and he had tied forwards out on the field. And
it was bizarre, wasn't it? Yeah.
I mean, Papali'i played 30 minutes again, and Tino played like 37 or something like that. It's just, absolutely bizarre, considering that Tino will play 80 minutes pretty much for the Titans. And I know Origin's a faster pace. You have a guy like Tino in your side, you can certainly get 50 to 60 minutes out of him in an Origin game, not 35 minutes. And I just think it showed some of Billy's, what's the word I'm looking for? Inexperience. The big one for the Queensland now is maybe Reece Walsh comes in at fullback for game 3, because with Caleb Ponga missing. He's had 2 concussions in 3 weeks.
Yep.
So he's now he's not playing for the Knights this week, and they're saying that he's got to spend an extended period on the sideline now. So he may not even be in contention for for game 3.
Yep.
Queensland in Queensland, always hard to beat. I think Billy will stay true to the squad that he's got. I don't think he'll make, but he won't make the kind of changes that that Freddie made after a 6-point loss. Sacking 6 guys and bringing a couple of guys in. But I mean, everyone laughed at Freddie, and it paid off for him. I don't know that. I think New South Wales have the bigger selection struggles coming into game 3 because we've seen Latrell Mitchell makes his comeback for the Rabbitohs this week. So he's going to be available for Origin game 3. Jack Whiten, who played game 1 and was only missing from injury, he wasn't dropped. He was missing because of injury. He is back for the Raiders this week, so he'll be back for game 3 as well. So all of a sudden, you've got 2 centre players that the Blues have used quite extensively in the past couple of seasons available for selection. Do you stick with Burton and Crichton? Do you bring Latrell in? Regardless of what happens, I think Burton's got to stay. You could see what was it? 8 players from the Panthers grand final team in that Blues side, and you look at the try scorers: Cleary, Panthers; To'o, Panthers; grand finalist of the Panthers last year; Luai, Panthers. Like there was all those Panthers guys got heavily involved, and the combinations they play with each other every week. Liam Martin was strong. Stephen Crichton was strong. So, yeah, I think Freddie's probably got the bigger selection dramas. Mate, Queensland love being the underdog. They're trying to be the underdog coming into this game.
We love it. We thrive on it.
I think if New South Wales win game 3, I think you can say goodbye to Cherry Evans being the Australian halfback at the World Cup.
Yeah, you'd have to think so.
Yeah, it's interesting, and that's in about 3 weeks, isn't it?
Yes, it is up at the Cauldron Suncorp Stadium. It's very deflating, obviously, to sit through that from a Queensland point of view and think, where does that leave us now? But we've bounced back from hidings like that before.
Mate, that was just all momentum. That's all that was. It was momentum, and especially the second Cleary try, that was just tired forwards in and around the ruck. And I mean, sometimes games can get like quicksand. We've seen it with the Warriors, where the harder you try, the deeper you yourself into that hole. I mean, as you said, that Kafusi sin binning, that was just ridiculous in an Origin game. There was, that penalty sufficient. That wasn't a sin binning offence, and that pretty much changed the whole outlook of the game because, as you said, To'o got his try after that, and then that first 8 minutes of the second half where New South Wales just continually drove in on the Queensland defence.
Used up a lot of petrol from Queensland, and we just didn't recover. And as you said, some of those second half tries were really soft. The Luai one was just like, missed tackle straight through. And the Cleary, and it just kind of all imploded from there. So,
absolutely.
Billy, with all the work to do ahead of the State of Origin 3 decider.
Absolutely.
Suncorp.
A lot of people saying that DCE get him out of there, put Hunt at halfback, Brand at hooker. Yeah, I can see that. But when DCE is playing behind a forward pack moving forward, he's very, very good. He is. Don't dispel DCE at this point.
I think if he comes back and has a strong game in game 3, then it's all forgiven.
If New South Wales wear Warriors jerseys, DCE will have a fucking field day.
They're kicking field goals all the time, especially if it goes into the golden point. I've got this one, boys. Well, as we said, it'll be interesting to say the least, and I'm sure everyone's kind of glad that it is a decider.
Yeah.
Everyone prefers to go into game 3 with an open series, none of this dead rubber stuff. The NRL just quietly would be quite happy about that as well.
Cast your mind back 2 weeks, mate, or a week and a bit ago, and
yes,
the Panthers Warriors game at Moreton Daily Stadium. How do you remember that game?
Look, very, very kind of mixed emotions for myself and for you, I'm sure as well. It was kind of the end of an era for us. We turned up to Moreton Daily Stadium for the final time with the Warriors being the home side, and it's been a fantastic run this year. We thoroughly enjoyed it. As we keep saying, Redcliffe is a brilliant place to watch footy. We've seen some great results there this year. We've seen the 2 Golden Point wins in the game against the Broncos, the win against the Broncos. And, there's been a couple of disappointing results as well. Probably throw the game against Penrith itself in there as well. But we'll just sort of say a big thanks to the club in general, starting with like Cam George, who gave us access to the playing sheds after the game. It was a wonderful experience to get in there and see things from behind the scenes. Thank you so much to all the players who have chatted with us and just really got on board with what we're doing. We really appreciate that. It's been an unreal level of access because the seats that we've had there at Moreton Daily Stadium, the players have just been there, or sometimes even sitting right behind us. The players' families and relatives, and it's been such an enjoyable experience at Redcliffe, and we've had the time of our lives there. We really have, and all good things have to come to an end though, and much bigger things in store for the club this weekend. Massive homecoming. And we're all looking forward to that. But just going back to the game itself, look, I think we all kind of expected that we were going to cop a flogging from a red-hot Penrith side. They're clear minor premiers at this stage. And look, I think if you look at the result itself, 40-6 tends to indicate that we did have a tough night, but there were some genuine signs of improvement there. You look at the body language, there was improvement in the body language. The boys tried hard. We came very close to scoring on a number of occasions, and it was only some desperate Penrith defence that denied us. And look, there were just a few moments and lapses in defence that cost us a few tries. And like Penrith being Penrith, the scoreline, it didn't get as ugly as I thought it was going to be. I was expecting it to be the 60s. I remember looking at the score, and the Penrith hadn't scored for about 15 minutes, and thinking, we're still in this. And the boys were playing a bit better in attack. Shout out to Ronald Volkman for making his debut. I thought he had quite a solid game. Did get targeted a little bit in defence, but that was always going to happen because he's not a big man. Liam Martin did get the better of him on a couple of occasions, but all in all, a really good debut from Ronnie. Looking forward to what he's going to produce for the rest of the season. And plenty to build on. And I think I was almost disappointed that the Panthers got that try right on full time, because I was thinking 34-6 probably sounded like a bit more of a fair reflection of how the game went. 40 points to 6, it just sounds a little bit worse. I don't know, but look, there were genuine signs of improvement there. I really feel, and at the end of the game, it's like, well, the guys had a dig. They went out there, and there wasn't too much of that head dropping. Like as I said, the body language looked fairly positive for most of the night, and the boys were right up for it. They were just outclassed by like a much better team at the moment.
100%. For me, it was the speed at which Penrith played the game. Kind of just blew us off the park towards the back end of the game. They just keep that. They play at this level of play that they just don't relent. They keep it up for the full 80 minutes, and I think that's why they're the team to beat and where they sit in the competition. Because, I mean, we weren't disgraced to put on scores like that against some really fancied opposition here. So, I thought that was probably where Penrith were the better team, was just the speed at which they play the game. As you said, I thought we competed quite well. I thought there was a lot of effort areas that we improved on. One thing that we probably do too much is we play that block play out the back way too many times when the lead runner was the option. So many times they use Josh Curran as a lead runner, and he goes through a hole, but our play is so predictable that he's just left alone because everyone knows we're going out the back. We're playing that block shape. So if we can get Ronnie and Sean to just, play a little bit more eyes up footy, see what their defence is doing, and maybe throw that lead runner the ball a few more times, and it may produce some more points because it'll put the defence in two minds. They won't shift straight out onto the block runner or the block play, the block shape. Again, as you said, being invited into the sheds after the game by Cam George, that was something very special and probably put a full stop on our journey with the Warriors in Australia.
Great way to do it, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it was just a fitting end to our time as, being Aussie home supporters.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Got to chat to Ronnie Volkman after his debut.
That's good, wasn't it?
Yeah. Kid. Good. Spent time with Jazz, Josh Curran, as we always do, Dallin, Benny Murdoch-Vasilla. Great chat to Stace as well. And it was good to see the boys actually quite deflated after the loss. It still gets them, it still affects them. But, as you said, homecoming, I'm sure everyone's seen all the pictures and videos that have been shared all over, the Warriors site themselves, and then a lot of the different content creators and Facebook pages and Instagram pages that are sharing all the images of the Warriors heading back to Mount Smart Stadium that had a footy performed for them, a welcoming. Good to see ex-Warriors players like Ryan Hoffman sharing comparison photos, a photo of DWZ and a couple of the other boys walking the road to training, and then Hoffy put a comparison photo saying, I used to love this little walk up to Mount Smart Stadium.
It's a nice touch, isn't it?
It is. A couple of, obviously, ex-players that have been in the mix. We've seen Adam Blair with the boys this week. We've seen Ali Lauatiti. It was great that the Mad Butcher was there videoing a lot of the stuff. Mark Mandeka came in. Wasn't
that nice?
Yeah.
The big cuddle with SJ. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, he's a great supporter of the club and of the boys, and really part of that Warriors whānau. And he hasn't been able to be in and around that for so long. So that was great for him to be there. But it's going to be a massive homecoming this week. Obviously a sellout. Well done to those that have got tickets. I know a couple of people from Australia are heading over there. Richie from Warrior Nation's going to be there. Going to be a massive event on Sunday, and I'm really hoping that the enormity of the occasion doesn't overwhelm the boys.
That's always the risk, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm sure that Stacey and now everyone from the club's in the one spot. All those support staff that have been back in New Zealand for so long away from the boys, they're now back in connected. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff this week where they just get the boys ready and they get them grounded, and being out on Mount Smart and training. A couple of the images I did like to see was guys like Jack Murchie and Wade Egan who have played so many games for the Warriors but yet to play at Mount Smart Stadium, looking at the their 2011 memorabilia on the wall. Ronnie Volkman shared a photo of Sean Johnson from that picture. And
was Ronnie even born then?
I think there's only two guys playing this week that were played in the last game in 2019 when the Warriors played there, which was Chanel and Bunty.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It was
because Jazz didn't play, Tohu didn't play, Sean wasn't there.
Yeah, it was a real kind of throwaway game, wasn't it? It was a match against Souths where we got towelled up a bit, and who would have amazing to think back to that as being our last home game on the hello turf in Mount Smart Stadium. It's unbelievable. Josh Curran was with the squad, and he played one game there, and I remember he spoke really highly of his game day experience at Mount Smart Stadium. And all the ex-players we've had on have said that it's one of their favourite places to play. I remember Brent Tate saying he hated playing there as the opposition, but when he played for the Warriors, he just relished it, and he said the colder, the wetter, and the windier it was, the better it was for the Warriors.
Michael Luck describing it as
his happy place.
Yeah.
All the guys that played in that famous blackout game are just like, that atmosphere was unreal. Saying that like 8,000 at Mount Smart is like 30,000, 40,000 at Suncorp or somewhere else. I've experienced it a couple of times myself, going to the 300 Mannering's 300th game. It was a fantastic atmosphere that night. So stoked for all you NZ-based fans.
And those that are going, get there early. Get there about 12:30, because at 12:45 the Mad Butcher is doing he's got a lot of his Warriors memorabilia there. He's doing a free museum showing, I guess you'd call it. So if you get there early, you can get access to that. That'd be something that'd be fantastic to see. It was Jazz and CHT that played in that last game. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Thank you, Marky Roberts. I knew it was two. Brady Inga, you're definitely going to this game, I'm assuming. Mark Roberts, are you going to the game? I'm hoping you are. All you New Zealand-based guys are.
Jacko will definitely be there, won't you, Jacko? Yeah. He said, yeah, your time's over. He said your Redcliffe time is over. So that's right, and it's you guys. It's all over to you guys now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there and support the boys. Win, lose, draw, DCE and Golden Point, whatever it is.
We've still got a couple of games over here, mate. That we've got Parramatta at Combank, we've got Canberra at Canberra, we've got the Cowboys up at Townsville, we've got South at Sunshine Coast, we've got Penrith at Penrith. So we've still got a couple of
Still a few games over here, but I'm gonna give an opportunity to some of our other fans over here to get out to some of those games.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I may not get to another game this year, but look, it's been as I said before, it's just been such a awesome ride. The last 3 years, but in particular this year, it's been awesome for us to go to the games together.
Yeah.
We went to all the Redcliffe games, barring the Sharks game.
Yep.
Which was a bridge too far just due to scheduling and being on a Sunday night. But yeah, it's going to be something else come Sunday. I can't wait to see that place packed out. And let's just hope that we're on our game and we can, at the end of it, hoist that Mike Doreen Cup.
Well, mate, why don't you take us through the team list that's been named for this historic homecoming game at Mount Smart?
And for leg 2 of the Mike Doreen Cup, of course, we've got Reece Walsh, Dallin Watini-Zalesniak, Jesse Arthurs, Ewan Aitken move back to the centres, and Marcelo Montoya on the other wing. Ronnie Volkman, great to see him get another game alongside Sean Johnson in the halves. Adam Fanua-Blake, Wade Egan, and Jazz Tavanga, again named at prop, they're the front row. We've got Jack Murchie, Tohu Harris on the edges, and Josh Curran at lock. On the interchange bench, we have Chanel Harris-Tavita, Bunty Afoa, Elisi Katoa, Bailey Sirinen, and the extended bench is Adam Pompey, Aaron Penne, Rocco Berry, Freddie Lussick, and Dejan Azi.
Mate, one thing I will say is it's great that they've taken every single player back there. So none of the Warriors players will obviously be running out for Redcliffe this week, because every single player has gone back to New Zealand for this.
Soak it up, yeah.
And I think they'll be staying. I don't know if and the guys in New Zealand may be able to help me with this one. Brad, especially. I don't know if they're doing any fan engagement stuff this week, but because we have the bye the following week, I think they're staying in New Zealand for next week as well, and they may do some fan engagement stuff next week when they don't have to, get themselves ready for the game. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there. But, yeah, looking at that side, mate, first of all, massive congratulations to Bunty Arthur will play his 100th NRL and club game this week. And what a better, no better place to do it than at home in front of a home crowd at Mount Smart Stadium.
That's it.
They're doing an open training run on Saturday, but that's it this week. Louis and Pride are named for Redcliffe currently. Well, Louis will play for Redcliffe. Dynamis Louis can't travel.
He hasn't had. Not vaccinated, is he? So he
shot.
won't be able to play the Mount Smart games.
Yeah. I saw Pride in New Zealand, though, so I don't think Pride will be playing for Redcliffe. He might have been named, but I don't think he'll play because I saw him in some of the images. I'm sure they're not going to fly him back. UNH can return to the centres. It's something that a lot of us have called for some time now, since Brownie made that little experiment. Eli Katoa comes onto the bench, and as I said, Dynamis Louis, not having the COVID, can't play.
Mike Harrison, I'm loving this. The players will be running through the old tunnel from the number 2 field, just like 95. Of course, it has to happen. That's going to be awesome. Yeah. They got to get the flames as well. And the drums.
They will, yeah.
Oh, that'll be awesome. I remember they did it again in the 2005 10-year anniversary game. They ran out through the tunnel with the flames. Mate, that'll be awesome. That'll just add so much to the experience. Yeah,
it will. Great to see you and Aiken move back into the centres. I think Jesse Arthurs and you and Aiken are probably our strongest centre pairing that we can throw out on the field. Good to see Ronnie gets that shot. I think the Ronald Volkman, Sean Johnson combination will probably be the one that stays with for an extended period. Both on contract for next year. Both looking to be our number one halves pairing for next season. So give them as much time as we possibly can. I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be a really nostalgic afternoon. Mate, if you're not busy, maybe we do a live watch on YouTube.
I was just going to suggest that there's no better time to do a live watch. So any of you guys that can't make it to the game, join a couple of numpties like us, fumble our way through probably the biggest Warriors game since the blackout.
Biggest Warriors game probably since game 1, I would say.
Biggest Warriors club game since round 1. And
has just asked a question.
Tigers line up.
I'll get it for her right now.
Well, I know that Luke Brooks has not been dropped, despite all the reports saying the contrary to that.
Okay, so the Tigers lineup is Dane Laurie at fullback, Nofaluma and Big Ken Mamalo on the wings, Stafford Tyre and James Roberts named in the centres. Luke Brooks at 5'8", Jackson Hastings half, Tamo and Zane Musgrove at the front row. Fa'umu Brown is wearing the number 9 at hooker. Gunner Kelma Tuolangi in the back row, John Flickengowie at lock. And their bench is Stefano Utakamanu, Adam Dewey, Alex Seafarth, and Fanua Pole. And then their extended bench is Junior Tupu, Austin Diaz, Jacob Little, Justin Matamua, and Asu Kapoa. Asu Kapoa, that's the kid that made way for Sonny Bill.
Made way for Sonny. Yeah, look, that's still a fair side. We're going to have to play well to beat the Tigers. There's no easy games in the NRL at the moment. Everyone's been kind of saying on social media the Warriors will come out and smash them. And it's like, we can't forget that this is still a struggling side.
Yeah.
And I know we've moved back home, and a lot of people are maybe thinking that that's going to fix all of our issues. Where it's still a team that's struggled on the field.
Absolutely.
So yeah, look, we'd just be happy with a win, wouldn't we?
Natty Cuz says can't wait for Sunday. Nat, are you going to New Zealand or are you here in Australia watching this from the TV? Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's someone's commented. Mark Roberts, Kenny's going to have a mixed feelings about the game this weekend. Homecoming, but wearing the wrong colours. Yeah, absolutely.
It would be really strange for him. He'd be feeling like he's still a part of it.
Yeah, I agree with what you said though, mate. we've got to remember, watching at home, okay. Are you heading back for any games in New Zealand this year? Any of the other 3 after this game? Just curious. I see Big Dave's in Sydney this week too. He was posting photos of his frustration on Sydney trains. I had a bit of a laugh. For those that don't know, Natty Cuz in the comment section, that's Josh Curran's mum.
Next year.
Next year. Okay. For people have to be aware that this is a team that struggled. Have lost our last 7 or 8 games. So heading back to New Zealand and playing at Mount Smart's not going to fix all the problems that we've got. But look, if we can improve on the Panthers game, and it's good that, no offence to the Tigers, but the Tigers are a club that's just like us. They're struggling for form and cohesion on the field. They've got issues in, their the way that they're playing at the moment. They're not a 80-minute side either. So it's probably a good fit for us to have this homecoming up against them. Originally, it was going to be the Panthers. If everyone thinks back and remembers, that was the original homecoming game.
Ivan was pumped about it last year, wasn't he? He was keen to go back to his rightful home and dish out a flogging, but it wasn't to be. And I think it's good that, as you said, we are coming home and playing against the Tigers, and this will really show us where we're at.
It will.
This result, 100%, will be indicative of any sort of improvement, or are we just going to continue on with, this our struggles basically?
And the issue for us is if the Titans do a number on the Knights on Friday night, then we're going to be running onto Mount Smart Stadium holding the wooden spoon. So we're equal with the Titans. We're 2 points ahead of the Titans, but their for and against is much better than ours. So a win to the Titans on Friday drops the Warriors back to last place for that heading into that game. So
we may run onto Mount Smart with the wooden spoon, but we're going to run off it with the Mike Doreen Cup.
The Mike Doreen Cup. Absolutely. Should we have a look at the other games quickly, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll quickly go through the other matches in round 16. Thursday night, Sea Eagles versus Storm. The Battle of Brookvale. Years later. Manly, they've named all their rep stars. Taniela Paseka, he makes his return to the first grade squad. Storm, Pappenhausen named on the extended bench. Meaning returns to the fullback spot and Anderson on the wing. Jaden Nikarima, he makes a return to the interchange bench. I think he hasn't been in the side since the early rounds, has he? So good to see him back.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one. I think Manly always rise to the occasion. Excuse me, when they're playing against the Storm. I'm actually gonna pick an upset here, and I think Manly might be able to get the job done against the Storm. Origin weary Storm.
I'm torn. I think Pappenhausen will play. The reason he didn't play the last game was he had COVID. So I think Pappenhausen will play, which means Meaney will probably shift to the wing. Anderson will drop out. The big question is Cam Munster.
Tanya has just said no Munster, so that's a big out. So another reason why I feel that the Eagles may just be able to get the job done. DC field goal.
I think I'll be on the Eagles now that I know Munster's not playing. Friday night, as I alluded to, the first game on Friday night is the Knights hosting the Titans. Kalen Ponga, as we said before, he's been ruled out with concussion. He won't be available for a couple of weeks. That means the sex toy, he's been taken out of the top drawer and he's been put in to fill a hole. And we all know how good the sex toy is at filling a hole. So
he gets the job done.
For the Knights, he does. For the Titans, the flat track bully, Dave Fafita, he makes his return from injury, named on the interchange bench. Mate, my heart is saying the Knights. I'm going to follow my heart, and I hope the Knights win by a massive scoreline in this one. You
said before, David Fafita, the flat track bully. Well, this is a flat track. So I tend to think that with Kalen Ponga ruled out, I'm not quite sure where their attacking potence is going to come from. So I am going to...
Do you think the sex toy will be probing around, mate? Probing all the holes?
Yeah. They'll be looking for someone to penetrate the defense. So, yeah. I'll stick with the Titans. Unfortunately, I think they might get up in a real close one. There's either going to be a lot of points scored or not many points at all.
Yeah.
It's one of those games where you got two struggling teams, but I think the Ponga out is probably the clincher for me to stick with the Titans.
Yeah.
So then we've got the Panthers versus the Roosters. That's the second game on the Friday night. Roosters usual 17. They're going to trot out again. And the Roosters, Victor Radley, returns from injury, named at lock. The Butcher brothers, Egan and Nat, they're named on the interchange bench. Right, Panthers will continue on their merry way, and I can see them getting a very big win here.
Yeah,
against the Roosters at home, way too strong.
I agree, mate. You got that luxury of just trotting out the same 17 every week without even looking. Just keep putting the same team sheet in every week. Get that consistency going. The Panthers are going to go along on their merry way. The Roosters have struggled a little bit this year, especially against top 8 sides. So, I think the Panthers will win, and comfortably. Super Saturday kicks off with the Bulldogs and Sharks, played at Combat Stadium this one. No changes to that Bulldogs team from round 15. And the Sharks, they welcome back Dale Finucane. He returns from injuries, named on the bench. Mate, I know the Bulldogs have been playing a nice brand of footy of late, but I think the Sharks will be too much for them on Saturday afternoon. I'll be the Sharks.
Yeah, I think this will be a close game. I think the Bulldogs will probably the week off probably came at the wrong time for the Bulldogs with a couple of wins together, and this might sort of throw a cat amongst the pigeons, break up their continuity a little bit. So I think the Sharks, in a close one, they'll probably have just a little bit too much for the Doggies. This game I'm looking forward to, Cowboys versus Broncos. It is always a great game between these two sides. For the Cowboys, Luciano Leilua. I'm just glad he's not playing against us on Sunday. Instead, he's playing for the Cowboys, making his debut there. The Broncos, Origin superstar Brenko Lee in the centres. Ezra Mam, he holds on to that number 6 jersey, and Adam Reynolds returning from injury. I can see the Cowboys getting away with this one. I think fairly comfortably as well. Cowboys by 14 for mine.
Yeah, Cowboys, both teams are having a great season. They're sitting in 3rd and 4th, respectively. I just think the Cowboys at home will get this one. I agree with you. I think it'll be close, though. Brenko Lee, Origin superstar, and Dolphins #1 signing.
Dolphins, true.
Didn't the Dolphins sign
Sean O'Sullivan
today?
Yeah.
That was out of left field, considering his dad's the
I didn't see that coming. Yeah. Apparently, his dad signed him to about 3 clubs now.
Yeah. Roosters, us, and Dolphins. The next game on Saturday is. Are we still on Saturday? Yes, we are. The last game, Super Saturday, is the Rabbits and the Eels. The Rabbits, Latrell Mitchell makes his long-awaited comeback. Returning at fullback, which has forced Cody Nikorima back to the bench. For the Eels, they've got a full-strength 13. Marata Niokore named on the bench. Kai Robbel named on the bench as well. And Nathan Brown, the out-of-favour Nathan Brown on the extended bench, is on the search for a new club at the moment.
I did hear a lot of people calling for the Warriors to have a look at Nathan Brown. Can you imagine the headlines if it comes out, Warriors signed Nathan Brown?
That's funny. Mate, I'm going to pick... Oh, this is a tough one. I'm going to pick the Bunnies. Simply because of the return of Latrell. I think he'll lift them, and I'm pretty sure Cody Walker's due for a big game. And Damien Cook will want to, have a big one too after not starting Origin and coming off that bench. I'll pick the Rabbits. The Eels are a little bit hot and cold for me this year.
Cookie will come out like he's running on hot sand, I think.
He will.
I don't know how you pick this one. How do you pick the Eels? Up and down, and Rabbitohs have been a bit the same, but they haven't really impressed me this year. So I think toss of the coin, but I'll go the Eels. Eels in a real close one here. And that brings us to Sunday and the game we're all interested in, and that is Warriors versus Tigers at Mount Smart Stadium. How good does it feel to say that? Mount Smart Stadium, home game. As we said before, Ewan Aitken named in the centres, Eli Katoa on the bench. And for the Tigers, James Roberts named in the centres, Luke Brooks named in halves, despite all the speculation and the rumours suggesting he'd been dropped. Adam Dewey, he's the real danger man, back onto the bench. It's his first game back for the year, is it?
No, he played the last round.
He played the last round as well. So he's one to Warriors need to keep an eye on. I think that this will be a very close game. I know a lot of people are thinking we're going to come out and smash them. This is going to be a very close game. It's going to go down to the wire. As per usual, I'm going to go with a very, very nervous 4-point win with me pacing in my seat while we're doing the live watch.
I'm going to go Warriors by 8. So take the Warriors 1-12. First try scorer DWZ. Anytime try scorer Josh Curran. There you go. There's my multi.
Nice one.
Yeah. And the last game will be Dragons versus the Raiders. Dragons, I think that's an unchanged lineup. I must admit, by the time I got to this game, I was kind of bored looking at team lists. I think they're running out of, and it was, so really, who cares?
Brad will be able to tell you about the Dragons.
Brad's a massive Dragons fan. So Dragons, I think it's an unchanged lineup from round 15. For the Raiders, Jack Whiten's back from injury, and CNK, Chance Nickel-Kluckster, he's back from injury, named on the interchange bench. Mate, I'm going to pick the Raiders in a good, hard contest.
Yeah, I tend to agree. The Raiders look like they've got a bit too much firepower for the Dragons, although it's hard for me to forget that massive first half they had against the Rabbitohs. I'll stick with the Raiders in a close one. Guys, don't forget about our upcoming live shows. And every Wednesday, obviously, we're doing our Warriors review. And we will be next week, hopefully, reviewing a fantastic weekend of footy with the Warriors getting the win over the Tigers, retaining the Mike Doreen Cup, successful homecoming. Hopefully, we'll be discussing all these things next week. It may be a little bit different format next week, and that's because we're very excited to announce that we have Warrior number 59, Dr. Death himself, Jason Death, will be joining us for a chat next Wednesday night. So really looking forward to that. Talking about his NRL career, particularly focusing on his time at the Warriors, and he was our 1999 Player of the Year. Getting
back into our head-to-head chat series, aren't we, mate?
Yeah, that's it, our head-to-head. So we're hoping we've been in touch with a lot of these ex-players, and yeah, Dr. Death, what a great first cab off the rank for this of our latest series of player chats. We've also got Robbie Mears, Tony Martin, and Richard Villasanti. We're just working out dates with those guys, so we'll let you know as soon as we've worked something out there. But yeah, put that in your calendars for next week. Jason Death, chat with him next Wednesday night.
Yep. Yes, that'll be a good one, mate. I'm looking forward to that one. We were very lucky to have the doctor join us at the Magic Round.
We kind of stitched him up. It wasn't us that stitched him up. We're sticking with it's Tukes that stitched him up.
Tukes did. Yep.
He turned up to our function at the LA hotel, and I think Tukes got him on the phone and said, "Oh, you got to come over here. We've got a Warriors thing coming on." He literally walked straight in and got called up on stage, and that was the first time that we'd actually both met him in person. So it'll be interesting to.
Well, Brady Inger's saying, Villa, looking forward to that. You need more props on the show. Mate, we're working hard to get quite a few people. We've been in touch with Jerry Siu, Ali Lauatiti as well. Our current crop, we're going to try and let them get through this season without too much interruption. But we have got Ben Murdoch-Masila, your man crush, lined up to come on at the end of the season. And also to Adam Fanua-Blake. So there'll be a couple of good chats. Just a reminder that we are on Patreon. It's our membership subscription platform that enables all our followers to show you support for the content that we provide by signing up for a monthly subscription. If you head to our Patreon page, you can support us by subscribing to our bronze tier, which is set at $3 a month, which is basically next to nothing. And we would like to thank our bronze tier Patreon subscribers, Daniel Delore, Peregrine Falconer, Sean Kurzweil, Fabian Moiroa, Stevie Williams, Christian Catley, Alf Tuolave, TK Harris, Ted Clark, Ina Mete, Lisa Marie Bateman, Ken Wills, Nigel Phillips, Kane Fraser, Jermaine Downs, Malcolm Earnshaw, Dennis Danzo, and Siala Afmasanga. We thank you all very, very much for continued support.
Thank you, legends. And guys, if you would like to get your hands on some fantastic Roo and Hammer merchandise, you can head over to our Roo and Hammer store on Redbubble. And that's another great way that you guys can show your support and get something back, some fantastic merchandise. So I'm just going to quickly do a screen share and I'll show you some of the stuff that we have available in our store. So we're continuing our Halftone Heroes series, and we've got some great t-shirts here from memorable Warriors matches of the past. So we've got our Put the Ball Down Michael 1815 Warriors shirt. We've got Justin Murphy. We've got the Blackout. We've got I Told You It's Our Year, Campo's most famous altercation with Shane Webke. We've got player shirts, Clinton Torpy, Stacey Jones, Ruben Wiki. We've also got our Roo and Hammer logo series shirts here. Mike Doreen Cup. March 10, 1995, commemorating our first ever game. And also our 2002 Legend shirt, The Ultimate Warriors. And of course, Vanua Blake, Mannering, Michael Luck, Reece Walsh, and our Surreal Homecoming shirt, a tribute to the Mount Smart Homecoming game. So if you're keen, guys, jump on the Roo and Hammer Redbubble store. Please make sure you do go through our store to buy the stuff, so you are supporting us. A couple of our designs have been ripped off by other people. Apparently you can buy a Stacey Jones shirt from some guy in Germany. I don't know why he wants to sell it, because it's got our logo on it and everything, but anyway, is what it is. So yeah, make sure you go the link that's on your screen, the Rebel store, and that's another great way that you can support us and get yourself some unique merch.
Absolutely, mate. Looks fantastic. And as always, we're always repping our own merch on the show here.
Stacey Jones Halftone Heroes shirt.
I've got the everything #bunker shirt on, which is quite fitting for us this year. And don't forget, if you do miss any of our live shows, you can catch us on our Facebook page by going to the video sections, or you can go to our YouTube channel and catch up there. The easiest way to find all of our videos is to head to our link tree, which has direct links to each of our live guest interviews, presentations. And don't forget to hit subscribe on our YouTube channel so you'll never miss any of our stream content. If you are a podcast fan, then you can catch all our episodes on podcast platforms. We haven't uploaded to our podcast platforms the last couple of weeks. I've had some issues with net connection and so forth, but it looks like I'm got that resolved. So try and get this one uploaded.
Apologies for all the technical issues. That's the downside of doing a live show, is sometimes it is out of our hands. So sometimes the audio quality isn't quite there, and some of us having connection issues. But yeah, thanks for bearing with us, and thanks to you guys for always supporting us through thick and thin.
Absolutely. And don't forget to head to our Instagram page where we upload content daily to keep all our followers informed of any upcoming events, Warriors news, player movements, and all other Warriors-related content.
Well, that is a wrap for another show. Guys, what a weekend we've got coming up. All you guys that are heading out to the stadium, just enjoy every moment of it. It's going to be such a wonderful occasion. Look, we'll be promoting it during the week, but we'll probably do a live watch for the game. So if you guys can't make it, then make sure you tune into our YouTube channel where we'll be doing a live reaction to the game. But yeah, look, this has been a day that we've been looking forward to for a long, long time. So guys, enjoy every minute, and all we can say is go the Warriors.
Absolutely. And Kenny Wills, mate, if you're not doing anything on Sunday Arvo, maybe you can join us live on screen for the live watch as well. We can have a couple of beers and a chat while the game's on, which will be good. Go the Warriors. Thanks everyone for your support and for tuning in tonight. And can't wait to watch this homecoming game. Going to be absolutely awesome. We'll all be watching with a tear in our eye. And for those going out there, cheer the boys on, be loud, and enjoy yourself. Everyone be safe.
Thanks, guys. Take care.